Hello, I am SquidofLove. Welcome back. One of the most interesting races in the Star Citizen universe has to be the Tevarin, an alien race of proud warriors that caused a lot of trouble and were humanity's first interstellar enemy. The two human Tevarin wars were catastrophic for this proud race and almost led them to their extermination. We have recently taken a look at their technology and what kind of ships they were using with the Speria Prowler, but who exactly were the Tevarin, what kind of society they had, and what led them to wage war against humanity. The Tevarin were discovered accidentally on November 15, 2541 by Dr. Keller Lenz, a research scientist that was testing his drones on the system of Centauri when one of his drones discovered a jump point to an unknown system. Reluctant at first, Dr. Lenz decided finally to take the jump, and he was the first human to discover the system of Elysium. After spending some time scanning the system, he realized that one of the planets was actually inhabited by the proud race of Tevarin. That was the planet of Calith, the homeworld of Tevarin. Surprised and scared, Dr. Lenz decided not to take any more chances and returned to human territory to make his discovery public. The UP, then the United Planets of Earth, took over negotiations and tried to establish diplomatic relationships with the Tevarin but also share technology. Unfortunately, the Tevarin didn't seem to want any kind of relationship with the humans. Only 2 years after the first contact, the Tevarin launched a surprise attack to the human systems, and this is what led to the two human-Tevarin wars that were catastrophic for this proud race. The Tevarin were just starting the journey out from their homeworld, and they weren't as technologically advanced as the humans. In fact, they were around 100 years behind humans technologically. So what caused this war? Why the Tevarin attacked the humans when they knew they were fighting a superior enemy? It seems kind of suicidal, but we have to understand the Tevarin Society and their code. They had a proud martial society and their government was feudalistic and an oligarchy. The military in Tevarin ran everything, but they weren't bloodthirsty. They just honored the art of war. In order for a Tevarin to upgrade his status, he will have to distinguish himself in combat. But that doesn't mean that only warriors were respected in this society. Everybody was respected, everybody contributed to the society and the common goal, and everybody was cared for. Their religion, the Rijora, was a warrior code similar to Bushido. They believed in honor, fealty, and duty above all else, and breaking this code could mean excommunication or even execution in some cases. The official explanation for the first human-Tevarin war was that Tevarin wanted humanity's systems and resources in order to expand their territory and influence. But if we take a look on their society and their beliefs, maybe they saw humans as a superior, very strong enemy worth fighting. Maybe they thought that winning against such an opponent would bring them great honor. Unfortunately for them, the results were not what they were expecting. The first war lasted 4 years, from 2543 till 2546, and although the Tevarin lacked technologically, they made up for it in strategic brilliance and endurance. The first 2 years of the war, the Tevarin were unrelenting, gaining ground and even pushing UPE forces as far back as Tevarin System. The UPE seemed to be unable to stop the Tevarin. The ease the Tevarin had in transferring their military assets in different locations rapidly and shifting constantly the front of the war was too much for the UPE forces. They could never concentrate their forces on one single point in order to destroy this enemy, despite the fact they were superior technologically. Integral to the success of the Tevarin strategy was of course the Prowler, a unique dropship that could approach capital ships, enemy ships, and installations without being noticed thanks to its low emission thrusters that were reducing the signature of the ship. Like this, the Tevarin could use the Prowlers in order to approach military ships of the enemy and deliver a group of elite warriors in order to take control of the ships, destroy them, or simply wreak havoc. It seemed like the Tevarin were slowly winning the war simply because the UP forces, the humans, could not engage them and overwhelm them with their technological superiority. Everything changed with the decisive battle of Idris IV though. humans discovered that on the surface of Idris 4, the Tevarin were using a shipyard that was serving as the main repair facility and launching point for fighters in the system, but also several unknown structures on the surface that the Tevarin had already built or were building. The goal was simple: attack Idris 4 and take control of the shipyard in order to deliver a decisive blow to the enemy. The Operation Nemesis, as it was called, started on September 30th, 2544. The human Navy fleet entered the system of Idris and rushed to Idris 4 in order to deliver troops, elite troops and marines, to the surface of the planet for the very first human planetary invasion. After the successful deployment of the ground forces, human and Tevarin were engaged in a fierce battle in space but also on the surface of Idris 4. Humans managed to take control of the shipyard and everything seemed to be going well according to the plan, but then the Tevarin started using their new and unknown structures, which was basically a planetary defense system, a prototype planetary defense system that started decimating the UPE Navy fleet in orbit. With heavy losses on the ground, their ships being destroyed by the planetary defense system and Tevarin reinforcements along the way, everything seemed to be lost for the humans. It was exactly then that a young and ambitious officer called Ivan Messer took control of the situation and managed to turn the tide of battle for the humans. By commanding successfully, his troops on the ground managed to destroy many enemy units and even discover and take control of the Nexus for the planetary defense system. With this planetary defense system on their side, humans decimated the Tevarin fleet and eventually won the battle and took control of Idris 4. This was basically the beginning of the end for the Tevarin and opened the road for the UPE to push forward and capture the systems of the Tevarin and even their homeworld Caliph. What the humans did after that to the Tevarin could be considered a genocide, and this is because they terraformed the Tevarin systems and even their homeworld for human colonization, killing that way all the indigenous ecosystems. The Tevarin that survived this first war were either absorbed into the UPE or fled to Banu and Xi'an systems. And this is how the first human-Tevarin war was ended, with the humans destroying the Tevarin and believing that they will never hear from them ever again. But of course they were wrong, because 57 years after the end of the first war, the Tevarin made their appearance for one more time. The Tevarin forces that had fled from the first conflict were staying hidden on the fringe, rebuilding their fleet and waiting for the right opportunity to strike back. Under the guidance of a new warlord, Korathtar, the Tevarin appeared on the system of Fora in 2603 from a previously unknown jump point and demanded the return of their homeworld from the humans. After the humans reformed into the UE now declined to return Caliph that was terraformed and known as Elysium 4 right now, to their previous owners, the Tevarin, they started attacking the human systems, and this is what initiated the Second Human Tevarin War that lasted 8 years from 2603 until 2610. The goal of the Tevarin was simple this time. They didn't want to capture human systems, they just wanted to retake their homeworld, Caliph, that was known as Elysium 4. And in the first years they were doing quite well because the human forces, the UE, had underestimated them a lot. The Tevarin spent all these years, half of a century, heavily trading with other races and advancing technologically, upgrading their fleet and their military capabilities. They have also adjusted their techniques and their strategies in order to fight against the humans in a better way. Although they were outnumbered, they were using a unique phalanx formation, relied on heavy shield generating ships to present a near impregnable front and in that way dominate over their opponents. The war had dragged for 8 years when the Tevarin reached finally the Centauri system, one only system away from their former homeworld, but unfortunately for them, they've lost the decisive battle that happened in that system. The Battle of Centauri took place on August 2, 2610, and it was then that Squadron 42 signed. Squadron 42 was originally designated as a disciplinary unit for problematic pilots, but with their performance on this battle they gained everybody's respect and admiration. Like we have said before, the Tevarin were using successfully throughout the whole war the unique phalanx formation with their impermeable front, and not a single human fleet had managed to win against that tactic. The goal for Squadron 42 was very simple: stay hidden in retaliators waiting for the Tevarin to enter the system and then attack them and destroy their shields. The brave pilots of Squadron 42 were waiting hidden in retaliators inside the sea of debris for the Tevarin fleet to arrive. And when they arrived, they came out of their hiding spot, destroyed the shields of the Tevarin, and although suffering heavy losses, managed to achieve their goal. After that, the UE fleet attacked the Tevarin fleet that didn't have the shields up to protect them and destroyed them. The warlord Coral Thad managed to escape, and with the remaining Tevarin force, the remaining survivors, decided to jump and managed to jump to Elysium 4, proceed to the planet, and since they could not retake their homeworld, they entered the atmosphere, lowered their thermal shields, and decided to die in that way. This sacrifice made many humans sympathetic towards the Tevarin and made them regret the way they had treated this proud race at the end of the First War. Today the Tevarin have been absorbed entirely in the UE and they don't have their own government. After the end of the Second War, most of their survivors abandoned their code and religion and have lost every hope, living a life in crime as pirates or mercenaries. They are violent and sarcastic towards the Empire and they don't really respect the UE, although we can find some of them on the UE Navy fleet, but this is enforced by the judicial system rather than a personal choice. Very few Tevarin have earned citizenship, with the most notable example of Sui Kosi, a UE Navy veteran that managed to become a senator. The end of the Second War left the Tevarin pretty much exterminated, and the humans were right to believe that they will never hear from the Tevarin for a third time. But 331 years after the end of the Second War, an unsettling discovery made humans to rethink their approach. In 2941, the Kabal System was discovered, and in one of its planets, Kabal 3 to be more precise, abandoned Tevarin cities were also discovered. Humans had no idea until then that Tevarin had colonized this system. What makes this situation even scarier is the fact that also war machines were discovered on this planet, and some of them were intact like the Prowlers, and it is thanks to this discovery that the Hesperia managed to recreate this fearsome dropship. The most unsettling part of this discovery, though, was the fact that some of these war machines were made quite recently, in the last 10 years. We really have no idea what happened to the population of these cities. There are a couple of theories. One theory says that in the first human war, everybody that could help with their effort went and joined their navy in order to defeat the humans, and everybody that left behind eventually died of AIDS. Another theory says that the jump point between Kabal and Elysium sometime collapsed and the population on Kabal died one way or another. The truth is that we have no idea what happened, we have no idea when the Tevarin colonized the Kabal system and who created these war machines. It is quite possible that we haven't heard the last word from Tevarin. They might be hiding out there in the universe of Star Citizen, rebuilding their fleet, upgrading their capabilities and technology in order to attack for one more third time and try to take back their homeworld and systems. Thank you very much for joining me. If you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more. I am SquidofLove and I will see you around the verse. Bye bye.